Hello, good morning, bonjour tout le monde. I have just left the party office where I deposited my papers to be an official candidate in the upcoming leadership race. And thanks to the hundreds of volunteers who have raised their hands across this country, paid that initial deposit, and am officially a candidate for the upcoming Liberal leadership race. Je suis ici au bureau du Parti libéral à Ottawa où je viens de déposer mes papiers pour être une candidate pour la chefferie du Parti libéral. Et grâce aux centaines de bénévoles et donateurs de partout dans ce pays, j'ai payé le premier frais pour entrer dans cette course et je suis officiellement une candidate pour la chefferie libérale. And I just want to say a huge thank you to the hundreds of people across this country who have raised their hand and said, I'm in. It has been 2 weeks since I decided to join this race. And in 2 weeks, we have built a national organization, heard from people right across the country who tell me that they are rejoining the Liberal Party or joining the party for the first time because they're excited about my candidacy. And what I hear over and over and over again is that what I offer is hope for the future. And so I have to say thank you to all of those people who've raised their hand. And remember, the deadline to join the membership for the Liberal Party to vote in the upcoming Liberal leadership race is January 27th. Commit to vote for me at karinagould.ca and make a donation. Because I don't have deep pockets. The people who are standing up and saying they're going to support me are everyday Canadians who are giving $10, $25 that makes a difference. This is a grassroots, people-powered campaign, and I am so excited to have so many people across this country on board. Accordez-vous que pour joindre le Parti libéral, on doit le faire avant le 27 janvier pour pouvoir voter dans les élections pour la prochaine chefferie du Parti libéral. Et si vous pouvez, faites une don. Ça peut être $25, ça peut être $10, parce que moi, je n'ai pas des poches qui sont profondes. Et les personnes qui sont en train de m'appuyer sont les Canadiens de quotidien, qui disent que moi, je suis avec Karina, je suis là pour le futur de notre pays. Et ils donnent $25. Et c'est quelque chose qui vraiment va faire la différence. And I'm here today at the party office, not just to deposit my papers, but also because we need a Liberal Party of Canada for the next generation. The Liberal Party of Canada is more than one person. It's the thousands of Canadians across this country who have raised their hands to say that they want to build a better country. I joined the Liberal Party of Canada when I was 14 years old. I attended my first policy convention when I was 17. I've been with the Liberal Party through the ups and through the downs. But one thing that I can say for certain is that the incredible Canadians that have joined the Liberal Party of Canada over the years do it because it is their way to contribute to a better country. It's their opportunity to have the great debates about the kind of country that we want to be. And I want to make sure that the Liberal Party of Canada works for its membership. I've heard from too many people across this country that the Liberal Party of Canada hasn't given members the space that they need. And so I'm here today to propose 3 things to make the Liberal Party of Canada about the members and give power back to our membership. First and foremost, we need to get together more, and I'm going to bring back policy conventions. We've been talking at you for too long. It's time for the Liberal Party of Canada to listen to our members once again. I remember attending regional meetings and national conventions where we had great debates on the convention floor. We need to get back to that because the people across this country who join our party do so because they have things to say and they have ideas to share. And so I want to hear from you. I want us to be that big red machine, not just in terms of knocking on doors, which of course is incredibly important, but in terms of the ideas that you are bringing forward to make our country the amazing place that it is. And as leader, I would be committed to meeting on an annual basis with all EDA presidents across the country. I also think it's time for us to decentralize the party. Ottawa doesn't know best. We need to empower our regions, our provinces, our people on the ground who are the eyes and ears that hear from our communities. One of the reasons why I think we lost touch over the past couple of years is because we weren't listening to our membership. You were talking to your neighbors, you were hearing from people across the country, and you were telling us what we needed to focus on. And we got too focused on being government in Ottawa and not enough on what was happening on the grounds in our communities. I want to make sure that we have more field organizers in every region across the country, and not just on the ground, but digitally as well. We ran an excellent campaign in 2015, but it's 2025 now, and we need to adapt to the current situation and make sure that we can campaign in 2025 and for years to come. And finally, I would make sure that we are empowering young Liberals in this country and bring back the National Youth Director position. Young Liberals have always been a force in our party, and we need to make sure that you have the respect and the space to be that force once again. When I think about where Canada is today, I know that young people in general feel disenfranchised. They're worried about the future. And I'm here to say to all young Canadians, I get it, I understand, but I need your ideas, I need your energy, because you are going to keep propelling us forward. Alors, je propose 3 choses importantes pour les militants du Parti libéral du Canada. On doit assurer que nous sommes ensemble plus, qu'on a des conventions de politique, qu'on a des grands débats, parce que je sais que les idées les plus importantes viennent des militants, des membres de notre parti. C'est toujours les Canadiens qui se joignent des partis politiques et plutôt le Parti libéral qui donne les meilleures idées que nous avons comme Parti libéral. Et je veux vous entendre. Et je me commis comme la prochaine chef du parti pour assurer qu'une fois par an, j'ai des réunions avec tous les présidents régionaux de partout dans ce pays. Et on doit aussi assurer qu'on décentralise le parti. Parce que nous savons que Ottawa ne sache pas ce qui est meilleur dans chaque région de notre pays. On doit donner du pouvoir à nos régions, assurer que nous avons des employés dans chaque région dans le parti et que ce n'est pas seulement sur le terrain, mais aussi digital. On a fait une campagne excellente en 2015, mais aujourd'hui, c'est 2025. Et on doit adapter et renouveler notre parti pour assurer que nous sommes prêts pour engager et se battre dans une campagne aujourd'hui aussi. Et enfin, je veux redonner le pouvoir aux jeunes libéraux dans notre pays. Je vais mettre en place la position de directeur national pour la jeunesse. Parce qu'on sait que les jeunes dans notre pays ont besoin d'avoir une mot dans notre futur. Parce que le futur de notre pays, c'est les jeunes Canadiens. Et je sais, je comprends, je vous écoute les jeunes qui ont perdu la confiance, qui ont perdu l'espoir. Et on doit réengager avec vous et assurer que cette promesse du Canada est là pour vous. Merci, je suis prête à vos questions.
Est-ce que vous avez à offrir pour le Québec?
Pour le Québec?
Oui.
Ouais.
Vous, comme si vous êtes première ministre, là, est-ce que vous avez certaines choses, parce qu'il n'y a pas de grands noms de candidats,
Oui.
candidatures québécoises, qu'est-ce que vous avez concrètement à offrir pour les
Oui.
Québécois et pour les francophones?
Absolument. Bien, premièrement, c'est super important qu'on a une chef qui est bilingue et qui est à l'aise en français. Ça, c'est quelque chose qui ne devrait pas être négociable. Et je sais que je ne suis pas francophone, mais je parle le français et j'adore le français et je sais que c'est quelque chose qui est non négociable pour les Québécois et les francophones partout au pays. C'est pas seulement pour les Québécois, mais je sais que c'est quelque chose qui est important. Une des choses, premièrement, que je vais faire comme Premier ministre et dans mon discours du trône, c'est de mettre le projet de loi 282 sur la gestion de l'œuf dans mon discours à la trône parce qu'on a besoin d'assurer qu'on protège la gestion de l'œuf dans ce pays. Aussi, je vais respecter les juridictions des provinces. Quand j'étais ministre des Familles, j'ai travaillé avec tous mes homologues dans les provinces et territoires, partout dans le pays, pour justement avoir des accords sur les garderies et la petite enfance. Et voilà, Québec est une leader dans ce domaine. Et on a pris les leçons et les exemples du Québec dans les garderies et on les appliqués partout dans le pays. Alors, je sais que nous avons une équipe excellente des députés libéraux de Québec et je vais assurer de toujours travailler avec eux pour justement représenter les Québécois et les Québécoises d'une manière efficace au niveau fédéral.
You said in your video that Canadians have lost trust in your party. So what specifically did your party do? What policies did it put in place that made Canadians, made the party lose trust?
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think we have to be honest about the fact that Canadians have lost trust in our party. And part of it is because I don't think we responded to the issues that they were telling us mattered to them. I think when it came to the end of the pandemic and the spike in inflation, Canadians were saying things are really hard. And we didn't say, you're right. We didn't say, yeah, things are really hard right now and here's how we're going to fix it. It took us too long to understand that Canadians were struggling to make ends meet. And instead of taking a moment and listening to Canadians, we said, here's all the great things that we're doing for you. And I don't think that was the right approach. When mortgages were going up, when rents were going up, when groceries were going up, we didn't respond quickly enough to the areas where Canadians were struggling. And I think we have to do a better job of that.
So it's a communications problem, not a policy problem?
No, it's both of those things because it's not just communications. You have to have policies that respond to where Canadians are at. And we didn't respond quickly enough to where Canadians were. We got there eventually, but Canadians had been saying to us, we're struggling and we need help. And it took us too long to listen to what they were saying to.
Mr. Taylor said that you would roll back the policy of capital gains. What would you do?
So look, I don't think we got the capital gains tax increase right last year. I'm having lots of conversations with the tech sector, with folks that are affected by it, to try and figure out what we can do to encourage growth and have more entrepreneurship here in Canada. So I'll have more to say on that in the coming days.
Two of you in the party, two of you were in cabinet, one was not. So why are so many of your cabinet colleagues endorsing Mr. Trudeau?
Oh, that's a great question for my cabinet colleagues. But what I can tell you is that the Liberal leadership is decided by the membership. And I have, full respect for my cabinet colleagues, for colleagues in caucus, and I, encourage them to endorse whoever they decide to. But let's recall that the leadership of the party is decided by the membership. And what I am hearing from the membership across the country is how excited they are by my candidacy. And the fact that so many people are raising their hands, making donations, asking to volunteer is phenomenal. And unlike some of the other candidates, I've only been organizing for 2 weeks.
The GST break that's on certain items in place right now, is that something that you would continue or make permanent if you were elected?
I would make permanent a GST cut on children's clothing, diapers, strollers, and car seats.
La Cour suprême vient d'annoncer qu'elle allait entendre la contestation de la loi 21 du Québec. Vous dites que vous allez respecter les juridictions du Québec. Est-ce que le gouvernement Gould va participer à contester cette loi-là?
Je vais attendre ce qui décide la Cour suprême à ce moment. Mais ce que je vais dire, c'est que je respecte la juridiction des provinces et des territoires. Mais le rôle du gouvernement fédéral, c'est d'appuyer les droits de tous les Canadiens. Et le Parti libéral, c'est le parti des choix, des chartes, des droits et des libertés. Et mon travail comme chef du parti, comme Premier ministre, sera d'assurer que je protège les droits de tous les Canadiens.
Plusieurs de vos collègues qui disent qu'ils saluent votre travail, mais qui vont aller donner leur appui à certains candidats qui ont plus d'expérience que vous. Comment vous vivez ça, vous, comme étant la plus jeune candidate? Est-ce qu'il n'y a pas un petit pincement au cœur qui se forme à ça?
Bon, j'ai beaucoup de respect pour mes collègues. Ils vont faire la décision qu'ils veulent faire. Mais je peux dire que toute ma vie, les gens m'ont dit que je suis trop jeune pour me lancer dans la politique. Et si j'aurais les écouté il y a 10 ans, je ne serais pas ici aujourd'hui. Et ce que je peux dire aussi, c'est que j'ai beaucoup d'expérience. J'ai presque une décennie dans la politique et je crois que pour cette prochaine élection, on a besoin de quelqu'un qui a l'expérience politique. Parce que Pierre Poilievre et le Parti conservateur, c'est ça qu'ils sachent très bien, la politique. Et si on veut être compétitif, si on veut être vraiment une option pour les Canadiens dans les prochaines élections, on doit avoir la connaissance et l'expérience politique.
If you win, will you try to govern as Prime Minister or will you call for an election right away?
I think it's a little too early to determine that. I think we have to understand where we are. Look, we are facing a potential trade war with the United States, and I think we have to know where we are on March 9th, where the country is, to decide where we need to go, because at the end of the day, whatever decision a future Prime Minister makes needs to have the best interest of Canadians at heart. And if we are in an extremely difficult position with the United States, having an election might not be the best thing to do at that time. But I think we have to see where we are on March 9th.
Why do you think that you can face Donald Trump, they can head on and fight for Canada and get a win against Donald Trump?
Because I face bullies in the House of Commons every single day, stand up to them and win. So I know how to stand up for Canadians. I know how to build a team that can do that, and I'm not afraid of a challenge. Ouais. Moi, je tiens debout chaque jour dans la Chambre des communes contre les personnes qui veulent m'intimider, et j'en ai pas peur. Et je sais que je peux se tenir debout pour les Canadiens, faire une équipe importante qui va défendre les intérêts des Canadiens, et j'ai la force et la confiance de la faire.
Just in English on Bill 21, what do you make of the Supreme Court today, and just personally, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. So look, we'll see what the Supreme Court says very shortly in terms of their decision. But what I can say is, well, I absolutely respect the jurisdiction of provinces and territories. The role of the federal government is to defend the rights of all Canadians. And the Liberal Party of Canada is the party of the Charter, and our job is to defend the rights of Canadians. So I will see what the Supreme Court decides, but what I can assure Canadians is that as Liberal Party leader, as Prime Minister, I will always stand up for the rights of Canadians.
En français sur le gain sur le capital, peut-être sur la planification sur le carbone aussi, exprime vos collègues qui ont un peu tergiversé dans leur position.
Ouais.
Comment vous voyez ça?
Oui, sur la tarification du carbone, bon, pour le Québec et pour la Colombie-Britannique, ils ont des systèmes provinciaux déjà en place. Ce que je vais dire, c'est que j'écoute les Canadiens qui nous disent que ce n'est pas le moment de lever le prix sur la pollution parce qu'ils sont vraiment en train d'avoir des difficultés à payer les frais qu'ils ont déjà. Alors, ce que je vais commettre, c'est que la première chose que je vais faire comme première ministre, c'est de canceller l'augmentation sur le prix de la pollution qui était visée pour le 1er avril et d'assurer qu'on fait que les grands polluants paient plus, mais aussi d'assurer que nous avons des programmes en place pour aider les Canadiens à faire les choix qu'ils veulent faire pour réduire leurs propres émissions. Ce que je sais des Canadiens, c'est que même s'ils ne sont pas d'accord avec le prix en pollution, combattre le changement climatique, c'est quelque chose qui est important pour eux. Ils veulent réduire leurs émissions et en effet, les Canadiens sont déjà en train de faire les décisions pour réduire leurs propres émissions. Mais on doit avoir les options, les programmes qui les aident à faire ces décisions. Alors, augmenter et retourner avec le rabais sur pour acheter les véhicules électriques et hybrides, c'est quelque chose qui est important pour les Canadiens. Revenir avec le programme pour faire des changements à leur maison, à leur logement, pour réduire les émissions, sont des choses qu'on pourrait faire pour aider les Canadiens qui veulent faire ces décisions.
You would keep the current carbon tax at its current level.
Yes.
You wouldn't scrap it.
Correct.
Bien sur le capital, votre collègue Freeland, elle a dit, ben moi je m'en dissocie, je m'en départis. Vous voyez ça comment? Est-ce que c'est correct d'arriver, de se présenter dans une course, puis soudainement se défaire de ce qu'on a présenté nous-mêmes comme...
C'est à elle de décider ça. Voilà. Sur l'impôt sur les gains capital, je ne crois pas qu'on l'a fait d'une bonne manière. On n'a pas eu toutes les meilleures options sur la table sur ça. Et je suis en train d'avoir des bonnes conversations avec les leaders, par exemple, dans le secteur de tech et les autres gens qui sont affectés sur cela. Et je crois qu'on doit changer ce programme, mais j'aurai plus de dire dans les jours qui viennent.
When did you come to all of these ideas? Like, you've been in cabinet, you could have brought your dissent from your prime minister, spoken out about this at any time.
Yeah.
So why should Canadians or people who might vote for you trust and believe you now when there was no sign of advocacy against these proposals then?
Well, we have something called cabinet confidence. And so what happens in cabinet stays in cabinet. But I can say that I have been true to my positions throughout.
Ms. Freeland resigned after delivering the feds. What is the
Sorry, could you repeat that? I can't hear you.
Ms. Freeland resigned from her job as finance minister. You ended up delivering the feds. What do you think of the way she resigned, and how did it unfold after that eventually?
Well, look, as the government House leader at the time, I felt that it was only the responsible thing to continue to deliver the fall economic statement. I mean, as the government of Canada, we have a fiduciary responsibility to Canadians and to markets at that time. And so despite the chaos that could have ensued because of that day, I took the decision to say that we have to do this because markets and Canadians are expecting it. Of course, I didn't write the fall economic statement, and like everybody else, saw it at the same time, but felt that it was important for stability and for calm to make sure that that was presented, and that's why I did it.
If you win a Liberal leadership, would you let Han Dong back into the Liberal caucus and let him run the Liberal panel?
I have to decide every single person that is there, and I would have to make a decision at a later date.
But right now, what would you think about that? There's lots of allegations brought forward about him, things we discussed in the public inquiry. What do you think?
Well, I have actually not been privy to any of those conversations in my previous role, so I would have to learn about them at the time that I become the leader.
Just a pivot to reconciliation, which compared to the 2015 leadership race, sounds to come up a lot. Just a quick check-in is government website, 31 boil water advisory still in effect, plenty of truth reconciliation and MWIG recommendations unfulfilled. What would your government do would you complete that job?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I was just speaking with former Chief Ava Hill last night at Six Nations, who, the community that's closest to me in Burlington that I visited a number of times and have developed a very good relationship with over the years. And, one of the things that we spoke about is my deep commitment to reconciliation and continuing on this path. I'm thrilled to have her support and to make sure that reconciliation is something that we continue to talk about in this Liberal leadership race and that we continue to talk about in the upcoming election. It is not something that we can let go of. This is such an important, I wouldn't even call it issue because it's broader than that. It's about who we are as Canadians and what kind of country we want to build.
You talked about the membership deciding this and that caucus endorsements, I guess, are not as important. But a lot of those caucus members and cabinet members have big organizations. How do you get across that disadvantage? How do you get over that some of your cabinet members can bring thousands of new people to the party?
That's great. That's wonderful. That's good for the party. The more people who join the party, the better. And the greater debate that we have in the party is good for the Liberal Party of Canada. And so I encourage people to join the party who want to have a say in the future that we want to build. And then over the course of the coming weeks, it's my job to convince you that I'm the best leader for the party.
Merci tout le monde.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.